Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World War One. I feel like I should be saying more than that because of the long series of Strategic Command World War II World at War, like such a long name. This is just Strategic Command World War One. Strategic Command World War I is developed by Fury Software. It is their newest title, actually, and as you guessed it from the name, it looks at the First World War. We have done a playthrough. It was a 27-part playthrough where we played as the Central Powers, and we won. That was more than a year ago. In this series, this is part number 2 of our series playing as the Entente, my first attempt to play as the Allies in this game. So far, things are kind of going mixed. We started off doing pretty well on the Eastern Front, I think, with some successful attacks in Galicia against the Austro-Hungarians. We've also had some success in surrounding a German unit near Gumeden, if that's how you pronounce it. But we have seen an unusual amount of Austro-Hungarian success in Serbia, with them taking Belgrade on turn 1, and our position there is really tenuous. And then also the Western Front, Belgium is rolling pretty easily, pretty quickly. I'm hopeful that we've got enough troops to prevent any German breakthrough along the channel, but things aren't going as well as I think I had hoped on the Western Front, and certainly not on the Serbian Front. And if the Serbian Front collapses, who knows where we'll go from there. But that's enough of me rambling. Let's go ahead and jump back into this and see what happens in this episode. Do we get a national morale bonus for retaking Nancy? Austria-Hungary's morale falls due to losing Lemberg. Given the threat facing our channel ports, the Navy has offered to provide a unit of Marines to help defend Boulogne. The unit of Fusilier Marines is not very powerful, but it may be able to hold long enough to delay the enemy's advance. Mobilizing the Fusiliers will cost 50 MPPs. Was there any reason not to? In the crisis in 1914, when the Germans threatened the Channel ports, France deployed its Fusilier Marines to Belgium in an effort to stem the enemy's advance. They fought against overwhelming odds alongside the Belgians, particularly in the defense of Dixmude. And despite heavy casualties, they managed to hold the town and halt the German advance in this area. That's interesting. I'd never heard of the French Marines in World War I before. In any event, they're going to deploy behind these two detachments. Tsar Nicholas II has suggested that we provide our ally Montenegro with a headquarters unit under General Janovic. They should provide the Montenegrin army forces with the ability to hold out against a much larger enemy, and will maintain the link to the sea and assistance from our allies. Is there any reason to say no? General serves in Montenegro HQ, then Montenegro will be better able to withstand attacks, thus securing our connection to the sea and from France. On the other hand, Serbia has more units than Putnik can command, so if Janovic takes up a command in the Serbian army alongside Putnik, then no will be better. We'll just say yes. Magna Coulomb, thank you very much for the follow. Hey, Pixel. Nicholas had a competent thought. Apparently. The fall of Lemberg encourages Romania to swing toward the Entente. Be great if Romania joined now rather than later once the Germans are ready to steamroll them. Russian mobilization continues. Give me more of those men. More Russian men. Yes, Siberian units arriving in Moscow. German mobilization continues. That unit near Mulhausen is a newly raised unit. Hit by rough seas. Japan declares war on the Central Powers. Thousands of recruits come forward to enlist in Kitchener's new army. Scientists report progress in industrial technology development in Russia. Or is that Serbia? Can't tell the flags apart. Russia. Okay. So that's the event side of things. We'll see what the Central Powers do in their attacks. Oh no! The Austro-Hungarian fleet came out to play, apparently. At least a pre-dreadnought battleship did. And then it immediately withdrew. Okay, they're moving some of their cavalry south, pulling some of their troops back from Johannesburg. That road east towards Sarajevo is the real threat on the entire position in Serbia, because it flanks the river line. Our troops in trenches behind a river, I would think, are in good defensive positions south of Belgrade, but to their flank, there's that road from Sarajevo that runs directly behind their flank. And so we've got one unit dug in, but there's no real strong national, barrier between us and them. Meanwhile, that French corps there just got wrecked pretty good. German troops attacking a detachment of ours east of Posen. Yeah, this corps west of Verdun got shot up pretty damn good. Meanwhile, the Belgian corps south of Antwerp is getting the German punishment. Just got wiped out. So now the Germans only have garrison and headquarters units to worry about for the Belgians. You can see there they drove toward the alternate Belgian capital at Urips. Meanwhile, they also started attacking Antwerp itself, which will probably hold out for at least another turn. It's a nice fortified city. There you can see just what I was talking about, that road which flanks the entire position in Serbia. Serbia is in deep shit. And they bring forward a unit there to wipe out our unit. Man, they're attacking everywhere. The Germans are advancing into Poland now. The damn fools. Okay. They didn't try and break out of Gumdeden, though. They let us keep that corps surrounded. Okay, a bunch of new troops. God, they have so many troops. Ragusa. I thought they were done with their attacking, but apparently not. Okay. So we held Uzis? I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Meanwhile, some more French troops are deploying. Starting to get very crowded on the Western Front. Less so on the Eastern Front. The blockade continues to work. Calculating supply. The Kutno detachment was destroyed on the Russian front. The 2nd Belgian Corps destroyed. Using diplomacy, both Norway and Sweden provide Germany with raw materials vital to their war effort. The most effective way to stop this would be to use diplomacy to pressure them both to stop trading with Germany. With enough diplomatic pressure, the Norwegian government will even start providing us with these raw materials instead. This would boost our income and war effort at the expense of Germany's without us even having to fire a shot. The political isolation of Germany will also lower her national morale and ultimately help us win the war. The Indian Army can quickly make available 2 corps, one of infantry, one of cavalry, for service in France as the Indian Expeditionary Force. The infantry are nearly ready to sail, though the cavalry will take a few months to arrive. Would you like the Expeditionary Force to sail directly to Marseille in the south of France? Or would you rather have them disembark at a slightly earlier date in Egypt? I don't need them in Egypt right now. I need them in France. The commander of our 20th Corps, Lieutenant General Ferdinand Foch, is an outstanding officer of merit who would make a suitable candidate to lead our forces in the battles to come. Providing with the necessary logistical support, he can also take the field, or so that he can take to the field will cost 200 MPPs. What? Sure. All right. Meanwhile, the British have 2 corps ready for deployment. And the Serbians, or the Montenegrins, have 1. So we'll deploy those in a moment. Okay. Get him! That was kind of an accident. I didn't mean to not attack, or not not move those troops in reams. In any event, we just destroyed another German corps. So, honestly, I know it'll knock Belgium out of the war, and it'll make people less happy, but this defensive line makes way more sense south of Lille. I just don't see the point. Let's pull these troops back so they can rest. The troops in Nancy weren't attacked either, were they? Okay. All right. Got him. Destroyed another German corps, this one in the Ardennes. That last attack without loss. Alright, we'll move these guys north. This corps of cavalry in Paris will reinforce. Oh, interesting. Wait, I command the Italians? They're in the Entente, technically? That's interesting. Can I just sabotage them so if they declare war on us, they're fucked? Move them all to the south or some stupid gamey thing like that? Alright, reinforce these guys. He can't move here, huh? Alright, we'll reinforce our cavalry down there. Why can't I entrench any of these boys? Probably because I attacked with them. I could move this cavalry in here. If we really wanted to get aggressive, but that would make my line less pretty. Would put me one hex adjacent to Brussels, though. Okay. Well, I guess I am going to try and defend the alternate Belgian capital. I don't want the Belgians to surrender. I'm sure we'll lose a ton of national morale if they do. Meanwhile, we do have some new units for the British, which we'll deploy in Portsmouth. I think I have this one unit moving up here. So we expand our blockade of Germany up there. I don't have any destroyers there to mine lay. Let's do this. The British have a little bit of money to spend. How much are torpedo boats? 100 MPPs? I mean, torpedo boats will be ideal against subs, I would think. So I'll build one. Let's also do some diplomacy here with the British. Does anything cost 50? Albania. Bulgaria. Denmark. Greece. Netherlands. Norway. Well, it did tell me to invest in Norwegian diplomacy, so we'll do that. There rest of these guys I can't really reinforce. I should move some of these air groups to the front, or the one air group I have. Can we get any recon on what's out here? Oh no! Bombard those Austro-Hungarian troops on our way out of the sea. I'm not going to attack ships on a port. That's a bad idea. All right. Can we reinforce these guys out of Malta? Just a little bit. There we go. That'll make sure they don't overwhelm my troops there. And then we've got a pretty good tight hold on the Austro-Hungarian fleet near Corfu. Although, you know, I don't know how meaningful that'll be. I don't have enough troops here. Like, they've got... So I can block this road this way, but this unit that just got reinforced, its morale is in the tank, so they may break through anyway, and I don't have any money left to reinforce the other troops. I guess we can try to swap these guys out. Maybe that'll be useful. I don't know, my thought process is by attacking these two Austro-Hungarian corps, I will weaken their own attacks back against me, but that may have been foolish. I really don't know. But their troops are all a little bit tired. Nobody's at 100%. So we'll see. No, attacking ships in port in this game, Newhauser, is a bad idea, because the way the game works is, I'm assuming it assumes that the ports have naval defenses. So you're basically going against, like, coastal defense batteries. Okay, let's attack these guys at Stanislaw. Okay. So, good news, boys. We just took Stanislaw, and we've advanced into the Pass of the Tatars. Stanislaw is mine. Can't really entrench any of these troops, but oh, we can entrench the troops in Stanislaw at least. So we took another national morale objective in Austria-Hungary. In theory, if we could push through this pass, there's not that many hexes to get to the plains leading to Budapest. I mean, I could advance toward Debrecen right now, but that would probably get my cavalry out a little bit out over their skis. Let's reinforce this cavalry unit. Okay. Alright, so if the Germans are going to push hard out of Posen, let's pull these troops back, maybe? Or would it be a better idea to entrench these guys like this? I think a 2-hex trench there would have been smarter. Oops. In any event, we've got troops dug in on the way to Warsaw. If the Germans are going to advance there. The troops at Gumden are cut off. They're not totally out of supply yet. So we're going to start setting up defensive lines here. Again, does anybody know if a 2-front trench rather than 3 is more effective in the game? I don't really know the answer to that, but I'm curious. I'm going to leave these guys surrounded for one more turn. I've got like 2 garrison units in Crimea, but yes, I'll consider it. Dig those troops in. Where does this cavalry go? Alright, swing these guys around this way. We'll leave them cut off for one more turn. The guys in Ivangrad will take... Trench these boys. I'm going to keep pressing here in the south, but I'm probably going to slow my advance a little bit in the north. Probably just kind of switch over to a strictly defensive strategy here. Because I don't know what the Germans are going to do over here, and I may have to pull additional Russian reinforcements that way. The troops I do want to pull to the front are the full corps in Moscow. So we'll pull these guys out toward Warsaw. I mean, I really should be reinforcing the success that we're having on the Austrian front. Rather than reinforcing sort of a static defensive nature, I need to try and overwhelm the Austrians, or at least that's my objective. So we will send, I think, well, I can't send more than that. That's all the money I have. Okay. So I think that's probably going to do it for the turn. We'll see if the Germans keep pressing in Poland. I hope they don't. I hope they switch over to the defensive. I should really pull these troops back behind this river. So we've formed kind of a defensive line here on this river to the north of Warsaw, and then swinging a little bit south. The one place we're on the offensive in eastern Prussia is near the 1st Corps. We'll do the Julius Caesar and throw a trench in the face of the potential enemies who might be coming up on us rather than the troops in our rear. Although I guess he put a wall on each side, didn't he? And then hopefully these guys are at 0 supply next turn and we can just easily crush them. Bloodlessly. Did I forget anything? At Alicia? Let's fly these planes over into the front. Oh, you're sorry. I was talking about Caesar and I forgot what I was talking about, I guess. Alright. So, I guess we'll just hold there. I mean, one of the things you could do, in theory, is throw British troops into Montenegro. I don't really have enough troops to do that with. It would have been interesting if I had deployed the Indian troops to Egypt and then threw them on transports and sent them into the Balkans. That might have been an interesting strategy. As it is, we're going to be moving forward another turn. The loss of grain from Galicia leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. Prince Wilhelm flees Albania as civil war breaks out. Albania prepares for war. On whose side? UK adds Agincourt to her fleet. Russian mobilization continues. Continue to blockade those supplies heading to Germany. German raiders still proving a nuisance to British trade, at least until we get Admiral von Spee and his boys rounded up. Hey, Mr. Random Stuff. Good to see you there. The front is mixed. The German Schlieffen plan is underway. The battle in Poland is uncertain. The offensive in Galicia has seen some success. We've taken Lemberg and we've taken Tarnopol, as well as the oil fields in Galicia. Meanwhile, German air power apparently is in Serbia. That's a little concerning. The Austrians don't need any help in Serbia right now. German offensives in France there. Not a lot of successful attacking there. They inflicted some casualties, but they didn't really do a whole lot. That Russian unit got pushed back with heavy losses, but as long as it survives, I can replace those losses. Meanwhile, Antwerp is under assault, and it's going to fall. Antwerp has fallen. The British unit defending the final Belgian city at Ypres is going to fall as well. The Germans are advancing into Poland. So offensives everywhere by the looks of it. All right, so a lot of the Austrian forces on the Serbian front actually spent this turn reinforcing, which means they will not be able to move or attack this turn. The Germans are advancing south from Tannenberg into Poland. So they're on the offensive on two fronts simultaneously. Please call you random. Okay, will do. Also out of Katowice. That's great. We may have to throw more Russian troops on that front. But hopefully winter will be here soon on the Eastern Front to give us a little bit of breathing space. Belgium surrenders. That'll hurt the morale. Germany gets a good economic boost from it, too. Albania joins the Entente. Okay, good, actually. That's good news for us, right? Helmut von Moltke retires due to ill health, and the complete failure, in this case, of the Schlieffen plan. They knocked out Belgium. Whoop-de-doo, I'm sure the Germans are thinking. We got the Belgians to surrender, but we're barely in France. So that's a thing. Antwerp detachment destroyed. London garrison destroyed. The Royal Navy would like to requisition some cross-channel steamers to convert them into seaplane carriers. The work would cost us 100 MPPs at 50 per turn. Probably, yeah, why not, right? Yeah, we'll do that. Seems cheap enough. France is getting several new corps. Serbia and Montenegro is getting one. Oh, I didn't deploy the Montenegro corps last turn, did I? Russia also has one. So let's deploy that before I forget. Reinforce these guys. They can't entrench and reinforce in the same turn, huh? Okay, we'll entrench these guys. Alright, so we're entrenched all along the front line. Morale is pretty low on some of these units, unfortunately. A Montenegrin offensive into Austria-Hungary. That didn't work out. I'd hoped to do a little bit of damage to the troops at Ragusa. Alright, we'll pull back. Alright, so at least that hurt their morale, I suppose. Put those troops, that ship in port there. Continue holding the line, I suppose. All right. Got him. Destroyed another German corps there near the Ardennes. Reinforce these troops. Anywhere that I can, like, get at an enemy unit advantageously, I feel like I really should. Again, this is more of a war of attrition than anything, right? So... actually pull these troops back and swing these fresh troops in. Okay. Nice. Got another German corps here. So we could get 3 attacks on this corps near Lille. But that, actually 4 if we include those guys. Let's pull this air unit back. Do we want to do that though? 2-2. Oof, those are some tough casualties. And those troops didn't do anything. Great. We'll reinforce these. It's not worth the losses, I don't think, that we would take. We'll pull this infantry corps out. I hate to invite them into this. This will be a bit of a salient. It would be interesting if they were to move troops down there, actually. Meanwhile, I do have some new units, right? 2 new French corps. So I don't want to deploy them in there. They're really ineffective their first turn in. So let's actually pull these guys back 1 hex. Can we deploy those guys into me? We can. And then the second corps will go here. back there. All right. So these guys are all still behind these guys are still behind trenches. So we badly shot up the 4th corps, destroyed a corps here. I think we, destroyed 2 corps and badly shot up a 3rd? The Canadian Corps, I believe they make a cameo in the game. If we go to the British and we see, yep, Canada is here. So they've got garrisons. Apparently they don't have full-blown corps yet. I would guess they have more than a garrison in the game. They played a pretty prominent role in the war. I haven't seen anything about them declaring war yet, though. Are they not in the war yet? Is that why, maybe? I don't know. I would think they would have been in the war by now. Our reconnaissance bombers do nothing against the German artillery. But we did recon their position. Oh, I need to do that when I attack in the future. You always want to recon before you attack. It makes your attacks much more effective. Move these guys to Toul. Alright, so that's the Western Front. Oh, I keep forgetting. The British have deployed more troops. Let's reinforce them to full strength and then get them across the channel. Alright, let's do this. Let's keep strengthening that blockade. I don't like the idea of a dreadnought on blockade duty, but... put this destroyer up here, too. Then move this armored cruiser out here. Also, the French Navy can be used, I guess, here. Can we move this light cruiser up onto a line? We can. All right. So we'll actually add 2 units to our blockade there. Move this French unit into that national morale objective. So we added 2 more blockade hexes covered, which means there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hexes on the distant blockade that are open, and the near blockade is completely blockaded. We'll keep the Agincourt in with the rest of the main fleet for the moment, although we could, in theory... I really don't want to push the Orion that far away. I guess we could do this... So we keep more of the stronger ships on the near blockade. So actually we increased our blockade line by 3, which leaves us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more hexes. We're building a motor torpedo boat also, which might be useful. Okay. I need to spend a turn reinforcing some of these French troops, by the way. I also would like to pull this corps. Well, actually, no, they're on a rail line. I just don't have the money to operate them away from the front yet. Okay, we've got 150 MPPs for the British. Let's actually do this. Rather than spend them on new units for the moment, let's go ahead and bump that into industrial technology so we can try and get our economy humming a little bit. We already did Serbia. Okay. That's all good. All right, let's keep the pressure up on the Germans. Wow, the Austrians are already pulling German units into their defense against the Russian offensive. Okay, then. Throw defensive trenches up there. Reinforce these guys. Replace their losses. Have the cavalry put trenches up on the opposite side of the river. We're going full defensive in Poland for the moment. Do we want to try and destroy that unit? Is it worth it? Two. That was actually 2-1. I'll take that. Okay, Stanislaw. Alright, so this isn't a national morale objective city or anything, but we did just take another city in the south here, near the Jablinsia Pass, or however you pronounce that. Alright, reinforce these troops fully. Meanwhile, we're advancing here in southern Austria-Hungary. You can see they've got 3 corps in front of Grosswardil, or however you pronounce that. Grosswardin. So the Germans have 2 corps down here. Actually 5 corps on the Eastern Front already. That's a little disconcerting. I'd hoped to crush the Austro-Hungarian morale. But I don't know that that's going to happen. Does that mean they're weak anywhere? Like, do they have... You know what, I'll attack here if it's a 2-3. Well, that didn't turn out the way I wanted. Swap these fresh troops around. Finished off that Austro-Hungarian corps. Okay. So we destroyed another Austrian corps there. Meanwhile, there's 2 more in front of Krakow. Also, the Gumden unit is down to 1 supply, so I don't want to, like, fully starve it out. That'll take too long. Let's just start attacking them now, right? Entrenchment's 1, so if I attack with cavalry, does that lower it? We got a nice 3-2 result there. It doesn't, apparently. But 1-3 is the odds here. Alright, so we destroyed that German corps pretty easily. I think at this point, sort of the objective should be to get behind the corps near Tilsit and see if we can't surround them. And do the same thing. It'll take a couple of turns, but if I can surround and destroy this corps, which has actually it's an experienced corps with 11 out of 10, that would be nice. Every casualty you take influences morale basically in this game. So, you know, if you can whittle the enemy down and very much in a war of attrition, and be pretty successful that way. But my thought process with this more is that if we can destroy another corps in the east, we can potentially advance on Königsberg, or at least pull troops away from the drive on Warsaw, or pull them out of Austria-Hungary. I don't know. We got to put pressure on them somewhere. Or maybe they'll just withdraw out of Tilsit on their own out toward Königsberg and hand me that chunk of Eastern Prussia. We'll see. A little concerned with what all the troops the Germans have deployed to Hungary, though, might be able to accomplish against us. I'm guessing this cavalry here, the Kuban Cossacks, may be dead. The Germans advance like these 3 corps against them. They could easily overwhelm and crush. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of Strategic Command World War I, episode number 2 in our Entente Let's Play series. We are into September of 1914. The German offensive in the West feels like it's at least relatively well contained, and it's a real bloodbath at the moment on the Western Front. Meanwhile, on the Eastern Front, we have successfully destroyed 1 German corps in Eastern Prussia. We're trying to swing around and flank another German corps near Tilsit. Meanwhile, the German offensive into Poland is something we've got to be mindful of, and we're continuing to also try and press our advantage in Galicia and sort of in southern Austria-Hungary, in Austria-Hungary, while also dealing with large formations to the north. With that being said, we'll see how things play out in our next episode. Until our next episode, as always, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.